Hey everybody, Todd Gutner here. Man, this has been one really incredible nor'easter. It's the first one of the season, and it's a 2-day long one. It's doing this little curlicue south of Massachusetts right now. And as it backed into the New England coastline, back around Cape Cod and Nantucket, it wasn't a hurricane, but kind of acted like one. The ocean incredibly churned up. The winds were insane, and of course we had these heavy bands of rain that were working in. So let's jump to the satellite and radar. You can kind of get a feel of what I'm referring to. The circulation is counterclockwise with this particular storm system, and you can kind of see it working its way like back toward Nantucket. And as it did so, some of these wind gusts that were down in southern New England were just insane. Radar closer to home does show rain getting up as far north as Augusta and Waterville and up to about Rumford, essentially the Route 2 corridor. But north of that, there really hasn't been any rain at all, and there won't be because now this storm is starting to shift away. The rain isn't as heavy as it was yesterday afternoon, but it's still persistent up and down the coastline. A little heavier for down east Maine at the moment, especially interior Washington and Hancock counties. So we'll continue to see the rain through the middle of the day and into the afternoon. The wind in southern New England has been epic. We've seen gusts over 70 miles per hour, over 80 miles per hour, and there's one report out of Martha's Vineyard, and that was at 94 miles per hour. I mean, this is like hurricane force stuff. And right now they're still gusting up to around 60 miles per hour in places like Falmouth, Boston up to about 50 or so. Closer to home, back in Maine, our gusts haven't been that impressive, but for me, this was like the loudest wind ever. It has to do with all the leaves on the trees still, just adding noise to the air and to the wind. Even though we didn't see many gusts over 45 miles per hour, we still saw power outages because this time of the year, the threshold for power outages comes down. You've got leaves on trees, which adds weight and acts like a sail. So when the wind blows, it doesn't take a 55 or 60 mile per hour gust to knock a limb off a tree. It only takes about 40 or 45. That's kind of the threshold. The other thing that's complicating the matters is that the ground isn't frozen yet. In the wintertime, when the ground is frozen, the roots are in like a cement block. It's covered in ice and it's frozen. But in the fall or even spring, when the ground thaws out, the ground is soft and it's wet. So the root systems can be compromised pretty easily and you can get trees to topple. So at one point this morning, we've had power outages that have amounted to over 20,000 or so. I want to go back to the graphics one more time and show you these wave heights. I've been forecasting weather in Maine and Massachusetts and New England for over 2 decades. And I got to be honest, I can't recall seeing waves this large in the Gulf of Maine and this close to the shore. Like, yes, way out there and like south of Sable Island, sometimes those hurricanes and those monster blizzards in the wintertime will give you some like 25, 30-foot waves by Sable Island, which is off of the Canadian Maritimes. But these are consistent 25, 24, whatever, York, 28 off of Cape Ann down in Massachusetts, 20-foot waves off of the mid-coast, another 20-foot wave off of MDI. Insane amounts of water getting pushed around, huge waves out there too. It's a good thing that we are not at astronomically high tides right now, and not only that, we're in between the full and the new moon. Otherwise, if this were like a normal high tide, a lot of the New England coastline would have been destroyed, like rearranged, a lot of towns flooded, may even have rivaled like the blizzard of '78 kind of stuff. So that's just kind of a little rundown. Believe it or not, we actually got lucky here in Maine. It's not as bad as Massachusetts, and even Massachusetts, where it is super, super bad, also got lucky because yes, they had about 500,000 power outages, and yes, they had some freshwater flooding, but they didn't get the significant coastal flooding because of those tides not being that high. Anyway, that's a wrap on this one. We look ahead to the next one, which will be over the weekend. Not going to be like this kind of a storm, but it will deliver us some pretty heavy rain. We'll have more on that in the coming days. Take care.